Hello YouTubers, I'm back from my mini summer holiday. I feel refreshed and revitalised, ultimately ready to end the year with consistent weekly videos again as normal. So welcome back to another Tesla vlog with me, Adam Well Informed. It's been a while since I've said that. 2 weeks. I hope you've missed the videos. I've certainly missed interacting with all of you. I've had some contact via Instagram, but the heart and home of my audience is right here on YouTube. So thank you all for tuning in for yet another video. Since the start of the year, I've always had a sunny break in Spain planned, but it's also the first time I've been away from my Tesla Model 3 electric car for a long period of time. So that raises the question, what to do when leaving a Tesla Model 3 idle whilst on holiday or vacation? Are there any special requirements in particular for battery health? I think it's fair to cover multiple situations, but primarily the one I undertook for my situation. So I'm hoping the video is informative for those planning to go away for a week or two with a Tesla Model 3, Model Y, Model S or Model X, or it's just another insightful video into general electric car ownership. You may recall from my last video, I did make you all aware I was having this 1 to 2 week break, but whilst there was no video posted, I did try to vlog part of this video during my holiday to make it more authentic to the situation. So buckle up, don't forget you can skip a chapter if you're not interested in that section. I think you may be surprised just how much energy I lost when I left my car for this exercise. So what were my circumstances? For previous holidays abroad, our airport routine usually includes a taxi there and back to the airport. In typical fashion, most of our flights are in unsociable hours and include early wake-up calls, not entirely child-friendly times, but there we go. Driving to the airport and back never felt like a convincing thing to do, especially having to focus on driving whilst being tired and to deal with any parking-related issues. Travelling abroad can be particularly stressful as it is, especially with the additional requirements at the moment. But this was the first time driving there and back would be more convenient than ever before. I did seriously consider it this time round. For me, a key difference in mindset was having autopilot. Autopilot continues to grow on me. I've had some really positive experiences with it over the past few months. I rely on it heavily for all motorway driving now. You may recall my staycation trips a few months ago that really allowed the software to shine. Applying it to this situation, it would be super handy to have autopilot when driving during these unsociable times. Another factor was cost. There would be a distinct charge cost difference in comparison to the whole taxi fare. However, we made the decision on comfort over cost savings here, which was fine by me as I know the car will be safer at home than in a car park used by the general public. But am I best to plug the car in or leave it unplugged? Like, what are you supposed to do in these circumstances? Do I leave the car with a low or high state of charge? These are all things to consider, but arguably more consideration would be needed if I had driven to the airport. Don't worry, I will discuss what I would have done if I did drive to the airport, as I understand many of you will be seeking that very answer, so I'm going to cover both angles rather than exclusively one angle. So what was my method of choice for leaving the car at home for a long period of time? Well, firstly, I did what most people do. I tried searching the web first, then I looked at the Tesla Model 3 instruction manual. To my surprise, the Tesla manual didn't really hold any answers to this, which was quite surprising, as I'm sure everyone leaves their car for a long period of time at some point, but there was nothing that I could find apart from the statement that flat spots could occur if the vehicle was left for a long period of time. But just how long is a long period though? I suspect a couple of weeks is nothing to worry about, but there was no detailed explanation in the manual what to do in this very situation. So relying on the web for the answer can be daunting, but I was left with no other choice, quite frankly. Thankfully, most of the Tesla community are awesome, very knowledgeable too. Personally, I find the Tesla Motor Club forum the most reliable, as well as YouTube videos like this. I think I even watched Spawn Point's video on this particular topic too, but the general consensus was to leave the car plugged in wherever possible. Thanks to the Tesla's battery management system, the car will sleep whilst idle and top up the battery where required, but it will not overcharge from your set limit. Therefore, I decided to plug it into my home charger and set my limit to 80%, which is my usual go-to anyway. I did see some posts stating a lower state of charge would be more beneficial, some stating as low as 50% is good for battery management, but what helped solidify my decision was this support post on the Tesla website, which was way more helpful than the manual itself. I'll drop it in the comment section below for your own viewing if you want some bedtime reading. But I was reassured by the fact that Tesla actively recommended leaving the car plugged in. Ka-ching! I was right on the money. The Tesla Motor Club forum was right, but there was no percentage limit stated. Therefore, I took it upon myself, as long as it wasn't set to 90 or 100%, which is within the trip range, the BMS would just take care of the rest. If Tesla were concerned about this, I'm sure there would be clear instruction on what to set it to, maybe even stated in the manual, but there is no set limit in the manual or on the support page. I assume they're just confident in the battery management system on board. Obviously, if I had parked the car at the airport with no charger, different requirements would apply, and I'll cover that at the end of the video. But in addition to keeping it plugged in, you need to consider if you're keeping Sentry Mode on. You may or may not know Sentry Mode keeps the cameras active and therefore utilising charge even in an idle state. This prevents the vehicle entering a deep sleep, so expect to lose a percentage point of battery for every couple of hours or so. Then if you have cabin protection on, the car will unleash the aircon to bring the interior temperatures down during those warmer days. So both of these modes can contribute to battery drain or vampire drain, as some call it. Having the car parked in the shade or in a garage may help alleviate significant swings in temperature too, as the car constantly regulates battery temperatures, and significant or extreme exterior temperatures can be avoided if locked away in the garage, etc. Personally, I do not have a garage, therefore the driveway will have to do, but again, it's just a decide situation, not essential. If you do leave Sentry Mode on and cabin protection on, expect the car to charge back to your set desired limit. Mine is scheduled to do so at night, so I charge on the cheaper Octopus Go night rates. See video above if you want to know a little bit more about that. But literally, I plugged it in late on the night I was due to leave, and I do apologise if you can't see much from this footage, but I think I know my wife by not having my allocation of stuff ready before we left, so there were some last minute preparations in place before I had time to plug the car in. I had no doubts when I plugged it in that there would be no issues on my return. The car is literally a computer on wheels. It's not like an ICE car that stops and starts on demand. It's consistently regulating car data and making small and subtle adjustments in the background. So before I confirm what the car was like on my return and if there are any issues together with the no charger situation, here's just a small insight into my relaxing family break. Feel free to skip the next chapter if you want your viewings to be strictly Tesla, but it all started with a simple plugging in for the car for charging before a delightful early wake up call. So did I come back to any issues on my return? Well, no, it's not very dramatic at all. No flat spots, no battery issues, no weird car behaviour, nothing different. I checked my smart charging app to see if it actually took any charge from the charger, and I was stunned to learn it didn't take a single kilowatt hour. Initially, I plugged it in on Wednesday night, left for the airport Thursday morning. Then you can see the car on Friday got a charging sesh, including my cheeky free public charge at the supermarket. I took this exact photo when I woke the car up for the first time. It was still at 80%. I mean, that must have been some super deep sleep, and the pod point charge stat backs it up. Just goes to show you, if you create the ideal conditions for the car, it can really retain that energy. If I'm being honest with you, I expected a minimal percentage drop, and it to suckle maybe a tiny bit of charge over the week. So this has blown me away. I suspect the performance was even better because it was hooked up to the power source. Maybe that allows it to be in a deeper sleep state than without it. So what would it mean if you don't have access to a charger? Let's say I drove to the airport. In what state should the car be? Well, firstly, if you can get parking with a charger, that's the most ideal. But realistically, that's probably not going to be an available option. So the same conditions as before needs to be considered. Are you going to be using Sentry Mode or cabin protection whilst you're away? I had personally turned these off to maximise battery, but you need to consider it for your own circumstances. Turning them off will allow the car to sleep and retain a good level of battery. I did leave my car for 4 days on my staycation, and on that occasion I lost just 1%, and that includes opening the car doors from time to time, which boots the screen and the fan, etc. But still, just 1% of energy was used over them 4 days. So basically, you will hardly lose anything if you turn them features off. But don't forget that you shouldn't be checking in the car as well via the phone app. This actually forces your car to wake up, which unnecessarily consumes power. Naughty, naughty. Don't be doing that until night before. But I think it's fair to say you can leave it a week, potentially 2, and there shouldn't be any significant swings in your energy usage. Some airports even offer a charging session before you pick up, so you just need to weigh up the cost and convenience of that service. But I was right to cover this option just in case. So to summarise, what to do when leaving a Tesla Model 3 idle whilst on your holiday or vacation. Ideally, keep it plugged into your charger. Turn off Sentry Mode and cabin protection before letting it do its own thing. If charging facilities are not available, that's no problem. Just remember you should probably turn off Sentry Mode and cabin protection to allow the car to sleep in order to retain more battery ahead of your return. So if you're away for up to around 2 weeks, I see no issues as to why your Tesla Model 3, Model Y, Model S or X can't optimize and manage its battery to ensure it's in a fit state for your return. Returning to the car after a week's absence was refreshing, to be honest. In my old car, I used to feel like I had forgotten how to drive, but I didn't have that sensation anymore. I'm either getting old or the Tesla Model 3 is just extremely easy to drive, for which it could easily be both options, to be honest. That's it for me this week. I hope this video was useful to you. If you got this far, please let me know by dropping me a comment, even if it's just the word holiday. I appreciate it's not the most interesting topic to talk about, but one worthy of a discussion for sure. I still have plenty of video ideas lined up, but don't hesitate to request any video ideas in the comment section below if there is something you want me to cover. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share the video, all that lovely stuff with your friends and family. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.